Lesson 4. Mapping your mental programming, identifying your installed limiting code. Welcome back to our exploration of how society rewrote your success code. In our previous lesson, we discovered the 4 main installation protocols that overrode your natural programming with limiting beliefs and behaviors. Now, I want to share my personal experience with these installation mechanisms, how I discovered their impact in my own life and business. More importantly, I show you exactly how to identify the specific limiting code running in your mental operating system and prepare for the restoration process. Let me share something deeply personal about how I discovered the devastating impact of installed limiting code. I've told you in the last lesson that after years of incredible success, traveling the whole world on cruise ships, I decided to open my own cryo spa, where I partnered up with this energy vampire that invested in the business, but at a terrible price. I told you that day after day he told me what an idiot I was, and how I couldn't do anything right, and a fucking loser, and how I was a failure and a loser. The business started with 80k in debt. Alright, let's go on back to this. This is not good. One more time. Lesson 4. Mapping your mental programming, identifying your installed limiting code. Welcome back to our exploration of how society rewrote your success code. In our previous lesson, we discovered the 4 main installation protocols that overrode your natural programming with limiting beliefs and behaviors. Now, I want to share my personal experience with these installation mechanisms and how I discovered their impact in my own life and business. More importantly, I show you exactly how to identify the specific limiting code running in your mental operating system and prepare for the restoration process. Let me share something deeply personal about how I discovered the devastating impact of installed limiting code. I've told you in the last lesson that after years of incredible success, traveling the world on cruise ships, I decided to open my own cryo spa, where I partnered with this energy vampire that invested in the business but at a terrible price. Day after day, he told me what an idiot I was, how I couldn't do anything right, how I was a failure and a loser. The business started with 80k in debt, and I found myself in an incredible, difficult situation. But now it's getting interesting. What terrified me wasn't just the business challenges, it was what began happening in my mind. I started to believe him. The same person who had achieved extraordinary success across 176 countries, who had sold programs from stage to thousands, who had risen to the top with everything that he did, it being part of begun to doubt my own capabilities. That's when I had profound realization. If I could so quickly adopt these limiting beliefs from one person in my adult life, how many other limiting programs have been installed without my awareness throughout my childhood and youth? I became obsessed with understanding how my natural success programming had been overwritten. I began recognizing specific moments when limiting code had been installed, from teachers who emphasized my weaknesses rather than my strengths, from well-meaning family members who taught me to be realistic, from social experiences that punished standing out. The most liberating discovery wasn't just identifying this installed code, it was realizing that this wasn't me. These weren't my natural thoughts or my authentic limitations. There were programs running in my mind that had been installed by external sources. This realization led me to dedicate myself to a systematic progress of identifying and removing this foreign programming bit by bit by bit. I meditated for 5 hours a day for 4 months. I followed Robin Sharma's 5 AM Club for 6 months. And I went through massive self-exploration to distinguish between my authentic self and instant programming. What emerged was a systematic approach to identifying when I was operating on natural success code versus I was running on my limited programs. I developed specific methods to recognize and remove the foreign programming that had been controlling my decisions, emotions, and results. The transformation wasn't just internal, it completely changed my external results. I went from being in debt and doubting myself to creating multiple successful businesses. But more importantly, I reclaimed the natural confidence, creativity, and resilience that had been mine since birth, but had been buried under layers of installed programming. Implementation, action steps. Now it's your turn to begin identifying the specific limiting code that's been installed in your operating system. Here are your action steps. First, conduct your programming archaeology. Identify 3 specific moments when limiting beliefs were installed. For each moment, write down who was involved in this programming moment. What exact words or experiences installed in the limiting code? And what program was installed in your mental operating system? Review these moments with compassion, recognizing that most people installing limiting code did so with good intentions. Second, create your foreign code detection system. Start noticing thoughts that limit your potential. For each limiting thought, ask yourself, does this thought reflect my natural programming or installed limitations? Who does this thought actually belong to? Who installed it? What would my natural success programming say instead? Begin the practice of mentally labeling limiting thoughts as installed programming rather than your authentic thoughts. And 3, map your programming patterns. Download the System Override Detection Grid from your resources section. Use it to document your recurring limiting programs that run in your mind. Identify the sources of these programs and when they were installed. This mapping will be essential for what you learn in our next lesson. 4. Prepare your code removal tools. Begin creating conscious separation between yourself and the installed programming. Practice saying, that's not my natural thought, that's installed programming. This simple practice starts the process of creating distance between your authentic self and the foreign code running in your mind. The most liberating truth I discovered is that the limitations that have been holding you back aren't yours. They were installed in your mental operating system. Without your knowledge or consent, they don't reflect your natural capabilities, your authentic self, or your true potential. Understanding exactly how and when this foreign code was installed is the first critical step in removing it permanently. You cannot delete what you cannot identify. I know this is a repetition, but I do this with purpose because it needs repetition. It goes into your subconscious. In our next lesson, I show you the exact process of removing this limiting code and restoring your natural success programming. You will discover specific techniques to delete programs that have been running in your mind for decades, regardless of how deeply embedded they might seem. The journey to reclaim your natural success mindset isn't just about positive thinking or forcing yourself through limitations. It's about systematically identifying and removing the foreign code that's been masquerading as your authentic thoughts and limitations. Your natural success programming hasn't been destroyed. It's been overwritten. And what has been overwritten can be restored. Your future self, the one who operates from the authentic natural success mindset, is waiting for you to complete this crucial step in your restoration process. Let's continue debugging your mental operating system now. Before we conclude this lesson, I want to give you a powerful tool that will help you experience everything we've discussed, I've created a guided visualization specifically designed to help you create deeper separation from insert programming and reconnect with your natural success mindset. This isn't just another relaxation exercise. This is a precise neurological intervention that helps you distinguish between your authentic programming and installed code at the experiential level. You will find this visualization in your resources section as both an audio download and written script. I recommend listening to it at least once daily, especially before challenging business situations where limiting beliefs typically activate. Let's take a few minutes right now to experience this visualization together.